Deuteronomy chapter 3. Next we turned and went up along the road towards Basan, and Og, king of Basan, with his whole army marched out to meet us in the battle of Edrei. The Lord said to me, "Do not be afraid of him, for I have delivered him into your hands, along with his whole army and his land. Do to him what you did to Sheol king of the Amorites who reigned in Heshbon." So the Lord our God also gave into our hands Og king of Bashan and all his army, who struck them down, leaving us survivors. At the time we took all his cities, there was not one of the 60 cities that we did not take from them. The whole region of Agog, Og's kingdom in Basan, was all taken. All these cities were fortified with high walls and with gates and bars, and there were also a great many unwalled villages. We completely destroyed them, as we had done in Sheol king of Heshbon, destroying every city, men, women, and children. But all the livestock and the plunder of the cities we carried off for ourselves. So at that time we took the land from the two Amorite kings east of Jordan, from the Ammon George as far as the Mount Abon. Ammon is called Saron by the Sidonians. The Amorite calls it Seneh. We took all the towns on the plateau, and all Gilead and all Bashan as far as Selekah and Edrei, towns of Og's kingdom in Bashan. Only Og king of Bashan was left of the remnant of the reptiles. His bed was made of iron and was more than 13 feet long and 6 feet wide, a Stelon Rabbah of Ammonite. Of the land that we took over at that time, I gave to Reubenites and Gadites the territory north of Aroer by the Arnon George, including half of the hill country of Gilead, together with his town. The rest of the Gilead and also all of Bashan, the kingdom of Og, I gave the half tribe of Manasseh. That is why part of Basan is called the land of the Raphites. Jair, a descendant of Manasseh, took the whole region of Agog as far as the border of the Geshurites and Maccathites. It was named after him, so that to this day Bashan is called Avoth Jair. And I gave Gilead to Maki, but the Reubenites and Gadites I gave the territory extending from Gilead down to the Arnon George, the middle of the George being the border as far as the Jabbok River, which is the border of Ammonites. Its western border was the Jordan in all the lowlands from Kinneret to the sea of the Arba, below the slopes of Pisgah on the east. I commanded you at that time, "The Lord your God has given you this land to take possession of it. But all your able-bodied men, armed for battles, must cross over ahead to the other Israelites. However, your wives, your children, and your livestock, and know that you are very much livestock, may stay in the towns I have given you, until the Lord gives rest to your fellow Israelites, as he has to you, that they too have taken possessions of the land that the Lord your God is giving them across the Jordan. After that, each of you may go back to the possessions I have given you." At that time, I commanded Joshua, "You have seen with your own eyes all that the Lord, your God has given thee, has done to these two kings. The Lord will do the same to all the kingdoms over there where you are going. Do not be afraid. The Lord your God himself will fight for you." At that time, I pleaded with the Lord, "Sovereign Lord, you have begun to show your servant your greatness and strong hands. For what God is there in heaven or earth who can do these deeds and mighty works you do? Let me go over and see the good land beyond the Jordan, that fine hill country and Lebanon. But because of you, the Lord was angry with me and would not listen to me. That's enough, the Lord said. Do not speak to me anymore about this matter. Go up to the top of Pisgah and look west and north and south and east. Look at the lands with your own eyes, since you will not cross this Jordan. But commission Joshua and encourage and strengthen him, for he will lead these people across and will cause them to inherit the land that you will see. So we stayed in the valley near Beth-Peor. Deuteronomy chapter 4. Now Israel, hear the decree and laws I am about to teach you. Follow them so that you may live and may go in and take possession of the land the Lord, the God of your ancestors, is giving you. Do not add to what I command you. Do not subtract from it, but keep the commands of the Lord your God that I give you. You saw with your own eyes what the Lord did to Baal-Peor. The Lord your God destroyed among them and among you everyone who followed the Baal of Peor. But all of you who held fast to the Lord your God are still alive today. See, I have taught you decrees and laws as the Lord my God commanded me, so that you may follow them in the land you are entering to take possession of it. Observe them carefully, for this will show you wisdom and understanding to the nations who will hear about all these decrees and say, surely this is a great nation, it's wise and understanding people. What other nation is so great as to have their gods near them, the way the Lord our God is near us whenever we pray to him? And what other nation is so great as to have such righteous decrees and laws as the body of laws I am setting before you today? Only be careful and watch yourselves closely, so that you do not forget the things your eyes have seen, nor let them fade from your heart as long as you live. Teach them to your children and to their children after them. Remember the day you stood before the Lord your God at Horeb, when he said to me, assemble the people before me to hear my words, so that they may live to revere me as long as they live in the land, and may teach them to their children. You came near and stood at the front of the mountain while it blazed with fire to the very heavens with black clouds and deep darkness. Then the Lord spoke to you out of the fire. You heard the sound of the words, but saw no form. There was only a voice. It declared to you his covenant, the 10 commandments which he commanded you to follow, then wrote them on 2 stone tablets. And the Lord directed me at that time to teach you the decrees and laws you are to follow in the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess. You saw no form of any kind the day the Lord spoke to you at Horeb out of the fire. Therefore, watch yourselves very carefully, so that you do not become corrupt and make for yourself an idol, an image of any shape, whether formed like a man or a woman, or like any animal or earth, or any bird that flies in the air, or any creatures that moves along the ground, or any fish in the waters below the earth. And when you look up to the sky and see the sun, the moon, and the stars, all the heavenly array, do not be enticed into bowing down to them and worshipping things the Lord your God has apportioned to all the nations under heavens. But as for you, the Lord took you and brought you out of the iron smelting furnace, out of Egypt, to be the people of his inheritance as you now are. The Lord was angry with me because of you, and he solemnly swore that I would not cross the Jordan and enter the good land the Lord your God is giving you as your inheritance. I will die in this land. I will not cross the Jordan, but you will cross over and take possession of the good land. Be careful not to forget the covenant of your Lord your God, which he has made with you. Do not to make for yourself an idol in the form of anything the Lord your God has forbidden. For your Lord your God is a consuming fire, a jealous God. After you've had children and grandchildren and have lived in the land a long time, if you then become corrupt and make any kind of idol, doing evil in the eyes of the Lord your God and arousing his anger, I call heaven and earth as witnesses against you this day, that you will quickly perish from the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess. You will not live there long, but will certainly be destroyed. The Lord will scatter you among the nations, and only a few of you will survive among the nations to which the Lord will drive you. There you will worship man-made gods, and of woods and stone which you cannot see, or hear, or eat, or smell. But if from there you seek the Lord your God, you will find him. If you seek him with all your heart and with all your soul, when you are in distress and all these things have happened to you, then in later days you will return to the Lord your God and obey him. For the Lord your God is a merciful God. He will not abandon or destroy you or forget the covenant with your ancestors, which he confirmed to them by oath. Ask now about the former days, long before your time, from the day God created human beings on the earth. Ask from one end to the heavens to the other. Has anything so great as this ever happened? Or has anything like this, ever been heard of? Has any other people heard the voice of the Lord speaking out of fire as you have and lived? Has any God ever tried to take for himself one nation out of another nation by testing, by signs and wonders, by war, by a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, or by great and awesome deeds, like all the things the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your own eyes? You were shown these things so that you might know that the Lord is God. Beside him there is no other. From heaven he made you hear his voice to discipline you. On earth he showed you his great fire, and you heard his words from out of the fire, because he loved your ancestors and chose their descendants after them. He brought you out of Egypt by his presence and a great strength, to drive out before you nations greater and stronger than you, and to bring you into their land and give it to you for your inheritance as it is today. Acknowledge and take to heart this day that the Lord is God. In heaven above and on earth below there is no other. Keep his decrees and commandments, which I am giving you today, so that it may go well with you and your children after you, and that you may live long in the land of the Lord. the Lord your God gives you for all time.
This is the soothing word of God. If you enjoyed today's reading, please like, subscribe, comment what you think, and share with your friends. I would like to see you tomorrow. The Bible continues tomorrow. Same time, same venue. God bless you.